Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike. You are watching and you are listening to episode number 35 of the Rock On Wild Show. Now, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. You can also like or dislike this video, whichever way you want to like it. And also share this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show to everyone that you know, from your family, your friends, your co-workers, your acquaintances. Tell everyone about the Rock Out Wild Show. I am, of course, your host, Just Mike. And as you see from the title of this very video, for the main event for episode 35 of the Rock Out Wild Show, I will be ranking my top 20 favorite songs by Alter Bridge, and I am going to rank all of their studio albums. And there are 7 of them. So I will be ranking all 7 Alter Bridge studio albums from my least favorite to the most favorite, leading up to their new album coming out early next year. It'll be released in January. So, with all that being said, I am also going to take a look at on this day for August the 27th in the world of professional wrestling, sports, film and television, as well as music. But to kick things off for episode number 35 of the Rock Out Wild Show, I am going to react to an old movie review of mine, a movie called The Purge, Anarchy. And right now, the anarchy of the sirens is outside my window as we speak. So let's get this ball rolling, shall we? Start by opening up the webcam and say hi to everyone watching and listening to this all around the world. As of this very moment, it is August the 14th, 2025, but this will be aired on August the 27th, 2025. So let's get this going. Let's react to an old movie review of mine called The Purge, Anarchy. I'm going to share screen. And make sure the audio is on. Perfect. Let's go full screen here and let's react. In 3, 2, 1, action.
Hey, what is up, all movie fans out there in the movieverse? Welcome to the Frank Grillo Show. I'm your host, Mike McRock, and this is my review for The Purge, Anarchy. The Purge, Anarchy is that movie where all crime is legal for 12 hours. And no, this is actually not a horror movie like the first Purge movie. It's not a home invasion like the first movie.
Right.
It's not as bad as the first movie. This was actually better than I expected it to be. And in this movie, you have a bunch of people with that their stories intertwine. There's this story where this couple, their car breaks down and then all hell breaks loose. You have these 2 women that they have this story with their father that he goes off to supposedly be safe with this rich family, but he ends up gets killed. And so they're left alone, just those 2, but then they meet up with the people that their car's broken down, and then they all meet up with the star of the show, Frank Grillo, who has a mysterious story behind this movie. You kind of get the idea, and I like how they made it a mystery until at the end. To me, that was really good, but when we got to what his story was, it just kind of felt generic and nothing special. I really didn't expect much out of it, but you know what? I could take a free pass on it because Frank Grillo was a solid to good actor in this movie. And this guy really should play the Punisher. And what I like about this movie is
if only he did.
That it corrected some mistakes that it done in the first Purge movie. And that it felt like you were part of the purging world, more so because it was out in the streets of Los Angeles in this movie and not inside a home. Yeah. So with that being said, I like how they took the Purge idea and made it into this story instead of an home invasion like the first one. And with that being said, I like that Frank Grillo, to me, was a lot better than anyone in the first Purge movie. I know I'm
Yeah.
comparing this
Yes.
movie a lot to the first Purge movie because I think I should, because the first Purge movie was just bad. And the second one was actually better than I expected. I
Yeah.
found myself entertained and excited about this movie. One thing that um,
Yeah, I think the first, if I'm not mistaken, and if I recall, the first Purge movie was more like a home invasion, home like thriller horror type of movie, whereas the Purge Anarchy is much more of an action flick than anything else. I think that's why I'm more accessible to rewatch the Purge Anarchy than I would the first one.
I like that this movie that Fury didn't do was that it didn't slow down at all. It didn't lose any momentum. I like that it was 103 minutes, roughly 1 hour 45 minutes.
Yeah,
I think if this movie
well
was
paced.
15 minutes shorter, it would be 15 minutes too short. And if it
Yeah,
was 15 minutes longer, it would be 15 minutes too longer. This
yeah,
movie was the perfect length for
hmm
an action movie.
yeah.
And like I said before,
Uh, I I uh,
for some reason,
I should reiterate uh, the length of this movie is good for not just an action movie in general because that's kind of vague, but for a movie like The Purge Anarchy, perfect length.
Wikipedia and IMDb are putting the label of horror in this movie. This is not a horror movie.
No, it's not. No.
This is an action thriller,
Yeah.
and it done its job in making me entertained. I could
Yeah.
see why the critics out there don't like this movie because there were some dumb moments.
Um, going back to that for a second. There's some horror elements to this movie, but it's a far distance from what the action is doing, letting the movie tell its thing.
This, for some reason, uh, you know, cliches are completely unavoidable. I
Mhm.
mean, unavoidable. But I guess I can make an exception out of it. It was predictable sometimes, but there were some dumb moments in this movie. I mean, there is a scene where two women are about to be purged by this purger, and one of them speaks up and say, "Don't come any closer. We have guns." And here I'm thinking, I would not do that in your situation. Why would you want to do that when the bad guys are coming after you? I really didn't understand that. And there was also a scene where
Weird.
the
Yeah.
group of people were going through this tunnel and they see these homeless people who are hiding from the purgers, and then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, these purgers are going in for the attack, and they're yelling and screaming. One of them has a flamethrower, and for some reason, the homeless people come out of hiding so they can run out and get themselves killed. Yep, human logic fails miserably in this movie. But it really didn't deprive
Mm,
me
yeah.
because I actually felt that this movie deserves a little bit of credit where credit
I mean, common sense goes a long way. This movie has a little bit of it, but not much.
is due. Because I was entertained by this movie, I was excited. The action sometimes looked a little CGI-ish, but
Sure.
I liked how this movie can do so much action and can get away with it. So I'm going to rate this movie 72 points out of 100. And if you saw The Purge or Anarchy, what did you think about it? Feel free to comment
I think I just purged my own camera.
in the comment section below. And also, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video to get McRocked.
Yeah, so that was my reaction to my old movie review for The Purge Anarchy, starring Frank Grillo. And I remember Frank Grillo being an absolute major badass in this movie. And that's pretty much all I have. Right now, we're going to continue on, and we're going to take a look at On This Day for August the 27th in the world of music, film, and television, sports, but first, professional wrestling. So, let's present, share screen, and let's have a look on this day for August the 27th in the world of professional wrestling. And to see right there's an old picture of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Gee, I wonder what he's doing now in wrestling. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So, what's happened here? On 1990, on August the 27th, SummerSlam was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Texas Tornado won his first Intercontinental Championship, pinning Mr. Perfect. The first match of the advertised two-part main event saw Hulk Hogan win via countout against Earthquake in a very decent match for both. The Ultimate Warrior then retained the WWF Championship against Ravishing Rick Rude in a cage match. In 1995, Triple H, then known as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, made his in-ring pay-per-view debut at SummerSlam on this date, in which he pinned Bob Holly following a pedigree, the dreaded pedigree. On the same show, the man under the cane mask, Glenn Jacobs, also made his debut, albeit as a demonic dentist called Isaac Yankem DDS. And we all know what happened to that gimmick. And in the year 2000, the first ever TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs match took place at SummerSlam this year, which was a triple threat tag team match. Edge and Christian defeated the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys to retain the tag team belts. We got some notable wrestling birthdays. On August the 27th, we got Sergeant Slaughter, born on 1948. The Great Khali, born in 1972. And Jazz in 1973. And we got a couple of wrestling deaths, people that passed away on August the 27th. Luna Vachon passed away in 2010, and Bob Armstrong passed away in 2020. Now let's take a look at some of the things, a lot of things actually, on this day in sports for August the 27th. In 1884, U.S. National Championship Men's Tennis Newport RI Richard Sears makes his fourth straight U.S. singles title, beats Howard Taylor 6-0, 1-6, 6-0, and 6-2. In 1890, U.S. National Championship Men's Tennis Newport RI Oliver Campbell beats two-time defending champion Henry Slocum 6-2, 4-6, 6-3, and 6-1. In 1894, U.S. National Championship Men's Tennis Newport defending champion Robert Wren beats Irishman Manliff Goodbody 6-8, 6-1, 6-4, and 6-4. In 1901, U.S. National Championship Men's Tennis Newport William Larned beats Beals Wright 6-2, 6-8, 6-4, and 6-4 for the first of 7 U.S. singles titles. In 1902, U.S. National Championship Men's Tennis Newport defending champion William Larned beats Englishman R.F. Doherty 4-6, 6-2, 6-4, 8-6. In 1908, Calgary City Rugby Football Club reorganizes as the Tigers. In 1909, future Baseball Hall of Famer Jack Chesborough's final game for New York Highlighters 17-6 loss to the Tigers at Bennett Park, Detroit. In 1909, U.S. National Championship Men's Tennis Newport RI William Larned beats William Clothier 6-1, 6-2, 5-7, 1-6, and 6-1 for his third straight and fifth overall U.S. singles titles. I should point out Newport, Rhode Island. In 1910, using 20 137,000 candle power arc lights. Two amateur baseball teams play a night game at White Sox Park. In 1911, Chicago White Sox pitcher Ed Walsh no-hits Boston Red Sox 5-0 at White Sox Park. In 1918, Christy Mathewson resigns as Cincinnati Reds manager to accept a commission as a captain in chemical warfare branch of U.S. Army. In 1920, American driver Louis Kuhn leads a U.S. medal sweep in the men's 3-meter springboard event at the Antwerp Olympics. Teammates Clarence Pickerston and Louis Balbach take the minor medals. In 1921, J.E. Clare of Acme Packing Company of Green Bay is granted an NFL franchise. In 1922, Paavo Nurmi runs world record 3,000 meters. In 1926, second Women's World Games track and field competition for women is conducted over 3 days at the Slottsvallen Stadium in Gothenburg, Sweden. In 1928, U.S. National Championship Women's Tennis Forest Hills, New York, defending champion Helen Wills defeats fellow American Helen Jacobs 6-2 and 6-1 for her fifth of 7 U.S. singles crowns. In 1937, Brooklyn Dodger Fred Frankhouse no-hits Cincinnati 5-0 in 7 2-3 inning game. In 1938, New York Yankees pitcher Monty Pearson no-hits Cleveland Indians 13-0. Joe DiMaggio hits 3 triples. In 1952, having already won 5,000 meters and 10,000 meter gold medals, Czech star Emil Zactopek claims rare Olympic treble, taking out Helsinki Games marathon in OR 2:23:03.2. In 1955, Sandy Koufax fans 14 Reds. Both teams combined for a record 23 strikes. In 1958, Clark Griffiths says Senators will probably accept offer to move to Minnesota. Wonder how that turned out. In 1958, U.S. performs a nuclear test over the South Atlantic Ocean, Part 1 of Operation Argus, to study the Christopoulos effect, a theoretic defense shield to cloud Soviet radar. In 1960, Anita Lundsborough swims world Olympic record 200 meters. Also in 1960, Australian swimmer John Devitt controversially wins the 100-meter freestyle gold medal at the Rome Olympics. Record same time, 55.2, as silver medalist American Lance Larson. Also in 1960, British swimmer Antia Lundsborough sets 200-meter breaststroke world record of 2:49.5 to beat German pair Wiltrud Earlsman and Barbara Goebel for the gold medal at the Rome Olympics. In 1966, pickup sticks, Oakland pitcher Paul Lindbald begins a 385-game consecutive errorless streak. In 1974, New York Met Benny Elia hits a home run in his first at-bat. In 1975, first night match at the U.S. Tennis Open, Perrin defeats Smith. In 1975 also, Veronica and Colin Scargill of England compete their tandem bicycle ride around the world, a record 18,020 miles. Wow, that's a lot. In 1976, transsexual Renee Richards barred from competing in U.S. Tennis Open. How times have changed. In 1977, Toby Harrah and Bump Wills hit back-to-back inside the park homers off Yankee Ken Clay at Yankee Stadium. Rangers won 8-2. In 1978, Dutch cyclist Gary Kneepman wins UCI World Championship from Francisco Moser of Italy and Dane Jorgen Markusinen in Nuremberg, West Germany. Correct me if I didn't pronounce that right. In 1978, MLB Cincinnati Reds Joe Morgan, his first to hit 200 home runs and have 500 stolen bases. In 1978, MLB New York Yankees pitcher Catfish Hunter's 62 win gives him a perfect 6-0 record in the month of August. Catfish. That's me everything. In 1982, MLB Oakland A's outfielder Ricky Henderson steals 119th base of season breaks Lou Brock's mark. 119? That's a Lacuna Coil reference if you don't know. In 1985, Mary Jo Fernandez, at 14 years, 8 days old, becomes the youngest player to win at the U.S. Tennis Open, beats England's Sarah Gomer 6-1 and 6-4 in a first-round match. In 1988, Dodger Tommy Lasorda wins 1,000th game as manager, tops Philadelphia 4-2. In 1990, Brewers Blue Jays game is delayed 35 minutes due to knots. I'm assuming the G is silent. I'll have to look up to see what that is after. In 1990, Rosa Mota wins the women's marathon 2:31:27 at the European Championships in Split, Yugoslavia. In 1992, oh my God, I actually pronounced that correctly. Oh my God. I'm actually surprised myself there. In 1922, CFL revokes BC Lions franchise. Also in 92, Mets trade David Cohn to Toronto for Jeff Kent and Ryan Thompson. In 1995, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, 95th U.S. Golf Amateur Championship, won by the one and only Tiger Woods. Also in 1995, Canadian Opens, women's golf. Bakersfield GC Jenny Lidbeck wins by one stroke from the Celeste Newman of Sweden. In 1996, Dino Cicilli is traded by the Detroit Red Wings to the Tampa Bay Lightning. In 2004, Australia wins its first ever Olympic men's field hockey gold medal with a 2-1 win AET against the Netherlands in Athens. Also in 2004, China's first ever gold in Olympic Games men's track and field. Liu Zhang wins 110-meter hurdles in Athens, equaling Colin Jackson's 1993 world record time of 12.91 seconds. Also in 2004, German kayaker Birgit Fischer wins gold in K4 500 meters and silver in K2 500 meters in Athens. First woman in any sport to win gold medals at 6 different Olympics, gold 24 years apart, and first person to win 2 or more medals at 5 different games. Also 104, in a huge upset in the men's basketball semifinal at the Athens Olympics, Argentina beats a star-studded but unsettled U.S. team 89-81. They go on to take gold and U.S. bronze. Also in 2004, Audisles Mendez of Cuba throws an Olympic record 71.53 meters to easily beat German Steffi Nearest for the women's javelin gold medal at the Athens Games. And then also in 04, Timothy Mack vaults at Olympic record 5.95 meters to win the pole vault gold medal from fellow American Toby Stevenson, 5.90 meters at the Athens Olympics. In 2006, the Tradition Senior Men's Golf Reserve Vineyards at GC, Eduardo Romero of Argentina wins the first of 2 Champion Tours majors with birdie on first playoff hole against Lonnie Nielsen. In 2011, 13 Athletics World Championships opens at Daegu, South Korea. Also in 2011, Australia claims final Tri Nations Rugby Series with a 25-20 win over New Zealand in Brisbane. Argentina's Puma joined competition the following year. Series rebranded the Rugby Championship. In 2015, 15th Athletics World Championships, Usain Bolt of Jamaica adds the men's 200-meter gold to his 100-meter win. In 2017, Canadian Open Women's Golf Ottawa Hunt GC Park Sang-hyun of South Korea wins by 2 from Miriam Lee. In 2017, former 5-weight World Boxing Champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. defeats MMA fighter Conor McGregor in his debut match in the 10th round in Las Vegas. In 2018, reigning French Open tennis champion Simona Halep becomes the first top-seeded woman to lose in first round of the U.S. Open, loses to Kaya Kanepi 6-2 and 6-4, first match at newly renovated Louis Armstrong Stadium. In 2019, race car driver Jesse Coombs dies while setting new fastest women's land speed record of 522.73 miles per hour at Alvord Desert, Oregon. In 2023, gymnast Simone Biles wins her record 8th U.S. championship in San Jose, California. In 2023 Tour Championships Men's Golf East Lake GCGA Norwegian Vidker Hovland scores a 5-stroke win over American Xander Schauffele for the biggest victory of his career. Please correct me if I did not pronounce that correctly. And in 2024, Britain's Daniel Evans beats Russia's Karen Khachanov 6-7, 7-6, 7-6, 4-6, and 6-4 in a new record for the longest match in U.S. Open history of 5 hours and 35 minutes. Those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of sports. Now let's take a look at what happened on this day in August 27th in film and television history. Let's see what we have here. In 1950, first transmission of a TV program from continental Europe airs on the BBC. In 1953, romantic comedy film Roman Holiday starring Audrey Hepburn, Gregory Peck, and Eddie Albert is released. In 1964, 25th Venice Film Festival Red Desert, directed by Michelangelo Antonioni, wins Golden Lion. Antonioni, however you pronounce that. In 1964, Walt Disney's musical film Mary Poppins, directed by Robert Stevenson, starring Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, with songs by Richard and Robert Sherman, premieres at Groban's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, California, and it wins 5 Academy Awards. Mary Poppins, y'all! In 1965, WTVI TV Channel 42 in Charlotte, North Carolina, PBS begins broadcasting. In 1967, Naomi Sims is the first black model on a U.S. cover, Fashion of the Times. In 1990, a little bit of wrestling here with the film and television, WWF SummerSlam, Ultimate Warrior defeats Ravishing Rick Rude. In 1994, Neil Simon's comedy Laughter on the 23rd Floor closes at Richard Rogers Theater in New York City after 320 performances. In 1995, Tom Stoppard's comedic play Arcada closes at Vivian Beaumont Theater in New York City after 204 performances. In 1997, 54th Venice Film Festival, Hanabi, directed by Toshiki Kitano, wins Golden Lion. In 2001, Angelina Jolie is named a UNHCR Goodwill Ambassador at UNHCR headquarters in Geneva. In 2002, 59th Venice Film Festival, The Magdalene Sisters, directed by Peter Mullen, wins Golden Lion. In 2003, 60th Venice Film Festival The Return, directed by Andrei Zvyagintsev, wins Golden Lion. And in 2004, Craig Kilborn's final appearance as host of The Late Late Show on CBS after 1,190 episodes. In 2004, Hong Kong martial artist film Hero starring Jet Li opens in the US and becomes first Chinese language film to go to #1 at the US box office. In 2006, the 58th Emmy Awards, 24, The Office, Kiefer Sutherland, and Marcika Hartley win. In 2008, 65th Venice Film Festival, The Wrestler, directed by Darren Aronofsky, wins Golden Lion. In 2013, Gravity, directed and co-written by Alfonso Cuarón and starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, premieres at the Venice Film Festival. I remember watching that movie in IMAX, one of the greatest IMAX experiences I've ever had inside a theater. In 2013, Dove Cameron releases a cover of On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons. In 2014, Birdman, directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu and starring Michael Keaton and Zach Galifianakis, premieres at the Venice Film Festival, Best Picture of 2015. Also in 2014, 71st Venice Film Festival, a pigeon set on a branch reflecting on existence, directed by Roy Anderson, wins Golden Lion. And those are all the things that happened on this day for August the 27th in the world of film and television. Now let's take a look at what happened on this day in the world of music. Let's see what happened in music here. This will be the final thing for the On This Day segments here. And let's kick things off with Pearl Jam, as they unveil their debut album 10 on August 27th, 1991. Seattle rockers Pearl Jam released their debut album 10, a cornerstone in grunge. 10 features such hits as Alive, Ebb and Flow, and Jeremy. Iconic songs, absolutely iconic, no question. The latter of which earned the band Grammy nominations for Best Rock Song and Best Hard Rock Performances. The band's most commercially successful album 10 would be certified 13-time platinum by the RIAA, while it remained on the Billboard 200 for nearly 5 years, becoming one of the highest-selling rock records ever. In 1993, Def Jam Records co-founder Rick Rubin laid the term "deaf" to rest, feeling that it was becoming overused in pop culture as a synonym for cool. Rubin and Russell Simmons launched the label in 1984 after founding in its Rubin's New York University dorm. To commemorate the events, Rubin held a star-studded funeral in Los Angeles at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, complete with a eulogy by Reverend Al Sharpton and a burial of a casket filled with records. You don't bury records. Come on. You just don't bury records. In 1966, the Beach Boys, God Only Knows, peaked at number 2 on the UK singles chart, along with being one of the first commercial songs to use the word God in its title. The track included the uses of many unorthodox instruments such as French horns in the introduction. Paul McCartney cited God Only Knows as his favorite song of all time. In 1967, the Beatles' manager Brian Epstein was found dead in a London home following drug overdose. He was just 32 years old. Epstein first met the Fab Four at Liverpool's Cavern Club in December of 1961, signing them to a 5-year contract a month later. During his career, he managed several artists, including Jerry and the Peacemakers, Billy J. Kramer, and the Dakotas, Celia Black, and the Remo Four. On this day, August 27th, 1990, 35-year-old Stevie Ray Vaughan was killed in a helicopter crash following a Wisconsin show with Robert Cray and Eric Clapton. Considered to be one of the greatest guitarists of all time, the highly respected blues rocker was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015. In 2013, Forbes named Madonna the world's top earning celebrity of the year. The 55-year-old Mongol made an estimated $125 million from her MDNA tour, as well as from her similarity named clothing and fragrance lines. And in 1992, John Lennon's handwritten lyrics for the Beatles' A Day in the Life sold for $100,000 in an auction at Stoltby's, London. Near 2 decades later, in 2010, the lyric sheet was auctioned again and purchased by an anonymous American buyer for $1,200,000. Holy crap. Anyway, we got some birthdays for August 27th. Born on 1942, we got Daryl Dragon from the Captain and Tenile. Also in 42, Chip Douglas from the Turtles. Born on August 27th, 1953, Alex Lifeson from Rush. In 1956, we got Glenn Matlock from the Rich Kids and Sex Pistols. 1970, Tony Cannell from No Doubt, born on this day on August 27th, 1970. Then we got Mace, born on this day in 1977, and I Feel So Good. Sarah Newfield from Arcade Fire was born on this day in 1979, and born on August 27th, 1999, Rod Wave. Those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of music. And speaking of music, I do believe it is time for the main event for episode number 35 of the Rock On Wild Show. And as you see the title of this very episode, I will be ranking my top 20 favorite Alter Bridge songs of all time. Plus, I am going to rank all of their studio albums leading up to their new one, their subtitle one, coming out early next year in January. So, the first order of business, I am going to stop and rank my top 20 favorite Alter Bridge songs of all time. And I do have some honorable mentions. The first honorable mention I'm going to mention is Words Darker Than Their Wings. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this song because there's a video on YouTube, and it's a live one, where they perform this song, and there's a moment where Miles Kennedy hits that one note, and it was awe-inspiring. Mark Tremonti looks over and just nods with approval. Go find that on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet. The next honorable mention, Would You Rather? Another honorable mention is Silver Tongue, Fallout, Brand New Start, and Show Me a Leader. Now, let's get into the top 20 itself. Kicking things off at number 20 is Ties That Bind. This came out on their album It's either Blackbird or One Day Remains. It's on one of them. Okay, it's definitely on Blackbird. I was right the first time. So that's at number 20. Number 19, Addicted to Pain. This one, I do believe, is off their album Alter Bridge number 3. Number 18 is Coming Home. That song is from their album Blackbird. Number 17, Slip to the Void, which is off their third album from 2010. Number 16, Wayward One, which is another song from, I do believe it is Blackbird. Yeah, it is. It is off of their album Blackbird. So Wayward One comes in at number 16 on this list. Coming in at number 15, it is Shed My Skin. Number 14, Come to Life, which is off of their album Blackbird. Number 13, I Know It Hurts. Number 12, Watch Your Words. Number 11, Isolation. Coming in at number 10 to kick things off at number 10 is Rise Today. That one is off of their album Blackbird, if I am not mistaken. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's one of their singles. It was actually the first single off their album Blackbird. Number 9, Down to My Last. And I don't know if a lot of people would add this song to their Alter Bridge songs list because I find this one very underrated. This one is off the first album, One Day Remains, and it's really, really good. I always have that chorus in my head when Miles is singing those words, Down to My Last. So that's why it's at number 9. Number 8, Broken Wings. And I do believe this album is off of their first album. It is too, yep. And that's one of the singles off that record. So Broken Wings is at number 8. Coming in at number 7, In Loving Memory. This is a really good slow ballad, and it could be anyone that you miss in your life or anyone that passed away. This would be a good tribute song to those to the people that you've lost, or anyone that you really want to celebrate with. Coming in at number 6 on my favorite Alter Bridge songs of all time is the song that introduced me to the band in the first place. I remember when Edge came out to it, I was like, what the heck is this? But the more I listened to it in WWE, it grew on me. At number 6 is Metalangus. On This Day, I See Clearly. Coming in at number 5 on my favorite Alter Bridge songs of all time is a song that just has a lot of positive vibes about it. Even Lucifer himself does not like the song. That song is Pawns and Kings. That song is off their 22 album from the same name. What an awesome, awesome song it is. Coming in at number 4, Watch Over You. This is definitely one of their most popular songs by many, many fans. And it really starts off with Miles and the acoustic guitar, and then it goes into that rock sound that you know from Alter Bridge. And it's just a overall really, really listenable track to listen to. My number 3 favorite Alter Bridge song of all time, it is a song called Fortress. This is the last song on their album, off their album Fortress from 2013. And it's a song that starts off slow and then it builds up and then it builds up and then it goes into a little bit of a quick pace after. And it's one of their longest songs too. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. My number 2 favorite Alter Bridge song of all time is a song called Open Your Eyes. This is the second song I heard from Alter Bridge. And it was this song here that the moment I realized was that Mark Tremonti, Brian Marshall, and Scott Phillips were in this band. And I'm like, oh my God, these are the guys from Creed. Who's the singer? So I've been trying to figure out who that was, and it was Miles Kennedy. And Miles Kennedy, for me, over the years, has become one of my favorite vocalists of all time. And it all started with the visual of the music video for Open Your Eyes. That's why I have it really, really high at number 2. But there is only one Alter Bridge song that I think is not only my favorite, but it's also the very, very best. And that is the song called Blackbird. And it's the title track to their second album, Blackbird. And, and don't mind that phone out there. The the machine will get that. Uh, yeah. So Blackbird, this the title track to that album, has a tremendous guitar solo from both Miles Kennedy and then later Mark Tremonti. So that's my list of my favorite Alter Bridge songs of all time. Now let's get into all 7 of their studio albums ranked from my least favorite to the most favorite. And for this, I'm going to do the same format as I've done for every single album ranking. So I'm going to present, share screen, and we will take a look of all of their studio albums from One Day Remains from 2004. Then we got Blackbird in 2007, Alter Bridge number 3, their third album that came out in 2010, Fortress, their fourth album that came out in 2013. Then we got The Last Hero that came out in 2016, Walk the Sky in 2019, and Pawns and Kings in 2022. And as you see right there, their subtitled album is coming out next year. So, how have I ranked these albums from my least favorite to the most favorite? Well, let's kick things off. Coming in at number 7 on this list is Walk the Sky from 2019. This is an album that I really don't go to a lot. This is not the most re-listenable album of the Alter Bridge album bunch, and it's no particular reason. The only reason is because I like their early stuff a lot more than I do their latest stuff, and you'll see why as I get into this list here. But as you see from the track listing, there's really not a lot of songs I will go back and listen to from this album. I do like their second track, Would You Rather. That's one of my favorites on this record. Godspeed is a decent song. And Dying Lights, the last track on this album, is another really, really good one as well. There's also a deluxe version on here with a bunch of live stuff as well. So that's the reason why Walk the Sky comes in at last place at number 7. Coming in at number 6 on this list is their album from 2013, Fortress. And let's take a look at their track list from this album. So I have this at number 6, and now from here on out, the albums on this, the rankings of the albums on this list are good, pretty good, and great. So this is the first good album from the Alter Bridge pack here. No particular reason why. This is close to the very bottom, and like I said, I'll say it again, their early stuff is my favorite. But there are some really good songs on this. I mentioned the title track not too long ago, 7 minutes and 36 seconds. That's one of their best. That's why it's one of my favorite songs of all time by Alter Bridge. Cry of Achilles is a really, really good song because of that introduction, that awesome guitar picking before the heaviness kicks in. That's really, really good. Addicted to Pain, Bleeded Dry is a really, really good one. Pieces Broken, Waters Rising is a good one. Farther Than the Sun. They're all good songs. It's just another album I don't go to a lot, but I do listen to this one more than I would Walk the Sky. That is why that's at number 6 on this list. Coming in at number 5, all my favorite Alter Bridge albums of all time. It is the album from 2016, The Last Hero. This to me is a pretty good album, and this is one I would go to a little bit more so than the ones I had at the bottoms. So, Show Me a Leader is one of my favorites off this record. The Other Side. Now, The Other Side was a song that the Judgment Day from the WWE used for a good number of months until they dropped it for a really generic, crappy tune, which sucks. I'd rather have them come out to The Other Side because that sounds pretty good. My Champion is a standout on this record as well. Cradle to the Grave is a standout. This Side of Fate to me is another standout. Crows on a Wire is a standout, as well as the title track, The Last Hero. There is actually quite a bit of standouts in this record that I would go back and listen to. And as a whole album, it has a good flow to it. This is one I would go back and listen to a little bit more often. Coming in at number 4 on my favorite Alter Bridge albums of all time, it is from 2010, their third album, Alter Bridge 3. This is one I would highly recommend. This is one I would definitely go back and listen to. To me, the standouts on this are those first 5 songs. And then you got Make It Right. Wonderful Life is a great way to break apart the record with a really good ballad. And then you get back into the heaviness with I Know It Hurts. Fallout is a really, really good one. And there's Words Darker Than the Wings. That's one of the standouts on this record. The other standouts from this album, to me, are Isolation and Slip to the Void. And I Know It Hurts is a really, really good one to really bang your head to. So that is number 4 on this list. Coming in at number 3, now we get into the final 3 here, the top 3. And the one that I chose to have at number 3 is their last from 2022, from 3 years ago, Pawns and Kings. This to me is a dead near return to form from their old stuff. And I mean their first 2 albums, which I'll be getting into in just a bit. But this album, I think, is a really good album from This Is War, Silver Tongue, Sin After Sin, Fable of the Southern Sun. Those are standouts. But to me, the biggest standout of this record is their title track, track number 10, Pawns and Kings. Now we only have 2 Alter Bridge albums left, and you're pretty sure you know exactly which ones you're going to get here, but in what order? Well, my number 2 favorite Alter Bridge album of all time is the very first one. From 2004, One Day Remains. And there are 11 reasons why this album is my second favorite, and they're all right here. Find the Real, One Day Remains, Open Your Eyes, Burn It Down, and there's Metalingus, the song that introduced me to Alter Bridge. Then we have a single to break up the record, a really good ballad to balance the heaviness from the first half to the second last half of it. There's Broken Wings right there. Then we have In Loving Memory, again another slow one, but it still gets a little bit too more back into the heaviness again. There's Down to My Last, very underrated. Shin My Skin, a very underrated Alter Bridge song. And The End Is Here, which is a really good way to close off their album One Day Remains. But there's only one, and you pretty much guessed it. My number 1 favorite Alter Bridge album of all time. I'm sure other people have this at number 1 as well. That is Blackbird. To me, this is not only the best Alter Bridge album in their catalog, but to me, this is one of my favorite albums in rock, in metal, and also one of my favorite albums in general of all time. And there's 13 reasons why. Ties That Bind, Come to Life, Brand New Start, Buried Alive, Coming Home, Before Tomorrow Comes, Rise Today, and there's the biggest standout right there, Blackbird, One by One, Watch Over You, another great standout, Break Me Down, White Knuckles, and what a way to close off the best Alter Bridge album in their catalog with Wayward One. And That is the reasons why that's my favorite Alter Bridge album of all time. And this has been episode number 35 of the Rock On Wild Show. Now I'm going to leave you all with a quote. And it goes something like this: It's okay to miss your loved ones who are no longer with us. Feel the warmth of their presence in your heart and remember the beautiful moments you shared together. Their love lives on in your memories, guiding and comforting you through any challenges you may face. Cherish the time you had with them and honor their legacy by living your life to the fullest. You are never alone, for their love surrounds you always, like a gentle embrace from beyond. Trust that they are watching over you, no pun intended, sending you love and support in every step you take. Take solace in the everlasting bond you share with them. I am your host, Just Mike, and this has been episode number 35 of The Rock Out Wild Show. And on a final note, to all of you watching and listening to this all around the world, get plenty of rest and always do your best.